morning and welcome back to Saturday of the NAU Jazz Festival 2021. Glad you can join us here, and we're really glad to be able to have the festival happen this year, even if in a virtual context. This morning's masterclass is presented by our percussion professor, Dr. Stephen Hemphill, and going to be assisted by Kai Natsaway, who's a percussion performance major and also very involved with the NAU Jazz Studies program. You'll hear him on the concert tonight with NAU Jazz 1 actually playing piano and some percussion. So I'll turn it over to the guys, but thank you for being here with us. We have master classes throughout the day today. There's a conversation with a couple of our faculty from the School of Music and the Honors College this afternoon at 4 p.m. 3 p.m. And then we have our concert tonight at 7 o'clock with NAU Jazz 2 and NAU Jazz 1 with special guests. So thank you so much for being here, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Professor Finet. And welcome to the NAU Jazz Festival. We're going to follow the clinical outline of 6 handouts that have been provided on the site, I hope. You should find them just above this video screen that's showing this virtual clinic. The first one, they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to walk through a little bit of these things. The first page, number 1, is really about ride cymbal time, and some concepts that I'd like to talk about with ride cymbals, and Kai's going to demonstrate several of these. The first one that's so important is just a real steady, rock-solid quarter note feel with hi-hat on 2 and 4, and Kai's going to do that right now with just a nice, comfortable motion in the right wrist, maybe fingers, depending on how weighted it is, light or heavy. And he's just going to get a real nice sound on this. This is a dry ride. It doesn't project a lot, but you might have to dig into this just a little bit. So many times that can be just enough to really drive a small ensemble or even a big band and relieve the sound of a constant swing ride pattern. But there's other ways to interpret the typical ride pattern anyway. We're going to do a little bit of that. One way is to keep that strong quarter note vibe going. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just tuck in the triplet note, the third partial of the triplets on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So it still has that driving quarter note feel. Another interpretation is with the weight on the cymbal on counts 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It's a slightly different feel. You'll hear, actually, if you listen to a lot of jazz music, you'll hear all kinds of interpretations of the cymbal ride signature, if you will. Anyway, and we're going to try this with the weight on 2 and 4 that lines up with the hi-hat. Okay, so you're going to run into all of these, and they're appropriate at different times. Another one is where an accent or weight is put on the third partial of the ride pattern on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. This is the precursor, if you will, to broken time, where the ride pattern is broken up and it feels a little bit more sassy, a little more syncopated, and perhaps sometimes washy even. But we'll start with just working on the accents on the third partial of the triplets. 1, 2, oh. So all of these are possibilities in different contexts. Another thing is sometimes we hear that the ride cymbal pattern is always triplet based, and that's a good rule of thumb, always triplet based, but in reality that's not quite exactly what goes on all the time. For example, one of my favorite drummers, Tony Williams, had kind of a signature, and I will refer to an album, ESP, with Miles Davis. On that album, his signature is, for example, is kind of a cross between straight eighth and triplet. It's a flattened version of that. It's in between. Maybe an academic nerd would say it's the first and fourth note of a quintuplet that kind of exposes the distance between a straight eighth and a triplet. We might look into that in just a minute because we're going to do an exercise that might bring that out just a little bit. Now, we all know that when we play up-tempo swing, the ride pattern flattens out. Ding, chickadee, 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 chickadee. We're back into straight eighth notes. So there's one context where we are not following the triplet bass. But we have an exercise on the bottom of this first sheet that's kind of a morphing example of training ourselves to hear all the variants between straight eighth towards the triplet and even beyond towards sextuplets, even 30 seconds, for example. But this could be a 1 minute or a 2 minute training drill, but you might just have to mess with it for a while until you can get that really slow morphing of the division of the quarter note, basically, until it shifts all the way around. And there's possibilities for using some of these variants later on beyond what Tony Williams might use as his signature ride, that flattened straight eighth and triplet in between example. We're going to start off with the straight eighth, and I did write out this first and fourth note of a quintuplet to give you that Tony Williams kind of signature idea. Going on with the arrow pointing to the regular quarter note and triplet based ride pattern. Going further to the dotted 8 and 16th, widening the space on counts 2 and 4 between the two notes. Going to the first and fifth notes of a quintuplet, going to the first and sixth notes of a sextuplet. You could go further, first and seventh of a septuplet and 8 notes, the same thing. But let's try just a little bit, and I'm going to ask Kai to try to morph. It's actually a tough challenge. Try to morph that 8th note and slowly emerge into each of these divisions as he goes down through the timeline. Good, and you could take that, maybe try to do a 1 minute, 2 minute drill, go all the way to the end where you think it is, and then bring it right back and just practice that ebb and flow. It actually affects our physical sense of that space and time, but also our hearing, our listening detection of very small increments of time shift. Not time shift in itself, rhythmic shift, I should say. The time should be always constant. Anyway, that can be a very useful training example as you work on your ride cymbal time. We're going to go forward to the next page. This is number 2, and this is kind of a micro example of rudiments for drum set, and this is for the jazz style of triplet-based rhythms. If you look at A, B, C, and D at the top, they're all triplets, and it's based on stickings with a little where the accents are. The first one, A, is so common, right, left, left, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, or right, left, left. You want just to have beautiful, easy, smooth, and appropriately distanced triplets. And let's play a little time, and then just play maybe a bar of 4/4, or 2 bars of 4/4 of letter A. Ding, jing, ding, and just on the snare drum. Do the same thing, and we're going to play B off of some time. So you hear that those accents are right in front of the hi-hat on 2 and 4. 1, two, 1, 2, 3, oh, let 4, oh, let 1, oh, let 2, oh, let 3, oh, let. And it's great to count these out loud while you're playing it. Get some vocalization going. Now I'm going to ask him just to play on the snare drum a little quicker. 4 repeats of letter A going right into B, and I'm going to ask him to cycle it. And this is sticking of right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, and so on. Actually, a little easier, a little quicker. In fact, let's go even faster than that. How about biggity, 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 bit about here? Okay, so a lot of this could come in a jazz feel. It could be part of a fill and part of soloing at times and so forth. Now we're going to go to C and D, which is the same as A and B, except it's the reverse sticking. Left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left. You want to do just that on the snare drum, and then we'll just do that. So all 4 of those combinations are very useful. Now, if we put A and B together, we actually, excuse me, we actually have a 6-stroke roll, which is actually quite useful in a jazz style. But let's just do it on the snare drum. Now we're going to do a very speeded up action of that, like buzz, 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 buzz. I'm going to ask him to put the accents on the toms just for fun. So you can see, just with the 6-stroke roll, it's very easy to sound complex, thick, dense in the time. Coming out of time, ding, chink, ding, chink, and you might put the accents on 2 different cymbals and support that with 2 bass drums under those cymbal hits on the accents. There's several things you can do with that. Again, it kind of falls into rudiments in the jazz style of the drum set. Now we're going to go to just a little phrase here. This triplet phrase is with accents and the bass drums included. Right, left, bass. Right, left, bass. And we'll just play that over and over just on the snare drum for now and the bass. Quicker about ba, 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 ba. So that you can still hear that swing time inside of all this. Now you could put those accents displaced on any surface. Let's go with toms and snare. Now we're going to bring that in from time. So let's play a little bit of time. Just a little bit faster, probably. a common figure or feel that you might hear in basic swing time. The second measure here could be an extension of the first measure. We're just going to play right, left, bass, right, left, bass, right, left, bass, right, left, bass, but it, 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 something like that. And why don't you do it on snare drum first, and then reassign. So now we're going to put the two measures together in a phrase, and let's come out of some time to do that. So that kind of falls into this rudiments for drum set in a jazz style that's pretty easy. Now, sometimes we also like to vocalize, and it's kind of easy to do, but when I was singing this drum part, I used kind of a borrowing from scat singing, where I used the bass drum as the letter N in my throat. So I said, sometimes we say, I did it, I did it, I did it, and if I want to say it over and over, I did it, and did it, and did it, I just start going N, did it, and 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 bat it, and boot it, and bat it, and boot it, and bow. And I'm singing the bass drum kind of in my throat, kind of like a ghosted note that a scat singer might use. And that's kind of what you were doing. Bat it, and boot it, and bat it, and boot it, or bat it, bat it. It's kind of a good way to do it. On the bottom of this page, I put down here 6 different resources that I thought are, in my mind, very useful. And some of these are extremely traditional. The second book under the resources for jazz drumming and chart reading, Ted Reed, Syncopation for the Modern Drummer. We're going to go into that just as an example in just a few minutes. It's not an expensive book. I looked these all up recently at Steve Weiss or Amazon, and you can see that's basically an $8 book that you can get today, and it's wonderful for working on our left hand independence and our bass drum independence. The John Riley, The Art of Bop Drumming, is a wonderful book. It also has some play-alongs built into it that really is useful. That's why maybe it's a little bit more expensive. We're going to look at that just a little bit with examples from that resource. For big band drumming and reading, I like this book for reading, the Steve Houghton Studio and Big Band Drumming book by Barnhouse. It has play-alongs also, and all of these are really excellent resources. A little bit more in learning different styles and including play-along charts. Tommy Igoe's Groove Essentials. I think he has 2 books now, has had for a while, and they're excellent. There's 2 books by Steve Houghton and Tom Warrington. This is Drums and Bass Combined, which is a very good way to understand the integration of what these folks are doing in the rhythm section. Steve Houghton, drum set, Tom Warrington, bass, essential styles. And it goes through all kinds of patterns and styles that we might run into in big band or combo. This next book is not as common to drum set players, but it's an excellent resource. Dave Weigert put together essentially a course for drummers and bassists to refine their skills so they're more able to contribute to combo playing and big band playing. This jazz workshop for bass and drum, how to play in bands, I think it's one of my favorite books. It talks even about how to practice and goes through styles, has great resources and discographies, listening examples, and all kinds of things that's really useful. We're going to move on to page 3, the third handout. This is John Riley's The Art of Bop Drumming. A couple examples, not to exploit the book, more of showing you how essential this might be in your studies and encourage you to acquire these resources. We're just going to do a couple examples. From page 18, this is just the snare line that you're going to play your ride cymbal and hi-hat in common swing time, hi-hat on 2 and 4. And I'm going to ask Kai to play, do you want to do each one twice? Would that be good? And we have 3 lines, 6 different phrases. He's going to do each one twice and go through these. And we're listening for his control and getting concepts, some ideas of snare drum comping figures and things. Also, great for learning how to rhythmically read setups or ensemble hits that you might want to do, figures that you want to catch, and maybe the trumpet section or trombone section or whatever. So it does several things. Working on comping in the left hand, and by the way, we're going to do it in the bass drum too, and also reading figures. So here we go, 2 times each. Good, great. We're going to move this forward. If you were moving through the book to page 22, you'll see that partial triplets are included now. Fragments, I guess. So this first one, and ba-da, and 4, and ba-da, and 4. So we're involving portions of triplets now from page 22. Would you like to do the same thing 2 times each? Yeah. And whatever tempo you like. This is a good one. You like it? Yeah. He likes it. Okay, that's great. Good. Yeah, we didn't do all 2 times each, but you get a very good sense of how that's working. Later on in the book, this is from page 26, we're going to incorporate bass drum. And then, remind me, we'll go back to the top and do a little bit of bass drum with that. Or we can do that in the syncopation exercise. 26, here's some 2-bar phrases between snare drum and bass drum, with cymbal and hi-hat on 2 and 4. so you can get a sense of the book. This is a very strong pedagogical resource. There is a book too, Beyond the Art of Bop Drumming. This book actually continues and gets quite challenging. Book 2 is very challenging. Excellent resources all around. We're going to go on to the Ted Reed Syncopation. This is sheet number 4. On this, the book actually only has the snare drum part, or the notes with the stems down in the third space. I wrote in what the ride cymbal would look like. I used triplet notation in the first measure, and then, as typically, we shorthand it with writing straight eighth notes, 1, 2, 3, but you swing all the eighth notes. That just shows you how it lines up if you're kind of new to this, what the cymbal and snare drum, where they line up and where they're separated. But again, we play the hi-hat on 2 and 4 all the way through this. And this is great to work on your counting. So if I was just counting the snare drum part, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, and 1 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 1, 2 and 4, and 3, 4, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1 and 1 and, sorry, 1, 2, 3, and so forth. You do that. Kai, do you want to play straight through it? Good. So that's, I think that's from page 37 in the new books. The old books, I think it's page 36. I have an old book. And there's so many ways to work with these pages. We're going to do, we won't do the whole thing, but we'll do this with working with just the bass drum, playing all of these notes. There's ways to play this with all the eighth notes are on the snare drum, short notes, and all the quarter notes are bass drum. And that's kind of developing dialogue between snare and bass. There's even books on how to use this Ted Reed book. Goodfred Dom Moyo has a book, I believe, that does just that, on how to utilize this book in so many ways. You could be playing bossa novas and reading these as cross-stick patterns. You could be filling triplets in between all the notes that are printed. There's so many things to do. But now let's just do these figures with bass drum. Let's play maybe 4 lines, 3 lines, somewhere there. Good. So that's a great workout for your foot flexibility. You actually could do some things with hi-hat to get it having a workout also. One of the things I wanted to mention is while Kai was playing it the first time with the snare drum, he had a nice, firm ride cymbal time going on, and his left hand was rather quiet for a snare drum. It was in a kind of a comping mode where he was playing off-center. He was not playing on the center of the drum, and maybe you can see that on video, I'm not sure. He was playing about halfway, perhaps between edge and the center of the drum, probably around the 8 o'clock area, maybe 7 o'clock, somewhere in there, just to make sure that the snare drum stayed in a balanced voicing with everything else underneath the time drive, and it had just a beautiful undertow comping sound to me. Here, I hope that is expressed through the video too. This is a great book. It's been around for a long time. Ted Reed, we call it just syncopation. I think it's syncopation for the modern drummer. You don't hear everybody say the whole title very often. We're going to go to a little worksheet. This is number 5, sheet number 5, that I put together, and it has two purposes. One is to develop the left foot or the hi-hat a little bit more than we get to do sometimes with traditional books. This is just a single page handout. And it's also developing phrases in 3/4 time. Swing waltz, jazz waltz, sometimes it's in 3, sometimes it's felt in 1. A lot of times we express 3/4 as a syncopated feel that's kind of in a 6/8 vibe, where we play the end of 2 a lot to expose kind of a more flowing over the bar line feel, as opposed to boom chick chick boom chick or boom chick boom chick. So this page starts off with big section 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is just ride and hi-hat. Section 2 adds the snare drum with that, and section 3 adds the bass drum, and then we have some other phrases which we might not get to. But we're going to do some of these at the top, and it's really fun to put that hi-hat in what for now we'll call unexpected places. The first one is real common. The ride time is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, with the hi-hat just on count 2. 1, chick, 3, 1, chick, 3. That's very common, as is the next bar with the hi-hat on 2 and 3. 1, chick, 1, chick, chick. So we'll just do those two. Would you play each one 4 times? Just those 2 bars in a row, and then we'll stop and talk about the next set. Both of those are real common scenarios, but they get a little stagnant or boxed in, a little square. Now we're going to move the hi-hat to fill in some of these spaces. In the first situation here, this is the 3rd measure, the hi-hat is only playing on the and of 1 in a swing and, a swing 8th. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good, we're going to keep that in the 4th measure and add another offbeat on the and of 3, and it will cycle like this. So those actually have a little bit more dancing feel to them. The next one is a trickier one. I threw this in early. The hi-hat is playing on the middle of the triplet. 1, 1, 2, oh, let 3, 1, da chicka da, 1, da chicka da, 1, da chicka da. You want to try that one? to take just a little bit more concentration on the exact placement than the others do. Let's do a few foot crashes. The next line exposes a foot crash. Da, chinga, tika. 1, 2, 3 crash. 1, 2, 3 crash. Different ways to crash. You can keep your heel down on the plate and just crash with the toe, or you can actually have a suspended heel and drop your heel in near the hinge of the plate and get kind of a two-plate cymbal crash. 1, 2, see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, and maybe you'll close it on count 1 or later, or don't close it all. You want to try this? What are you doing with your foot?
The second.
You're gonna throw in your heel that way. Okay, that's pretty powerful. If you want it lighter, you might go to a planted heel and just use your toe on the plate. The next one is all crashes. 1, 2, 3, crashing on all the third partials of the triplet. This is where the hinge is down, and you just play with your toe. Now we're back to a different cymbal pattern, and the hi-hat is on the end of 2. Reverse that, 1, 2, 3, chick, as at the end. And we're just going to add a little bit more cymbal triplet for the last one. So there's just some exercises. You see all the double bars. It just means play this pattern over and over. Then you can combine several of them any way you would like. We're going to move to big section 2, and we're going to add the snare drum. The snare drum is going to try to play quite lightly and sound as much as it can like a hi-hat, in that, at least in that dynamic vein. Here's the first one. The next one has an accent. It's a little bit busier. You could actually put a hi-hat in there, even though there's not one written. The next one is just spreading the snare and third partial of a triplet, and the hi-hat, third partial of a triplet. Going on to the next one, a little busier. The next one puts the snare drum in the middle of the triplet. Next one, we're going to put a little dirty buzz on the snare drum and try to ghost the middle note of a triplet. That's a fun one. Let's just do 2. Let's jump to 3. Do you want to do a couple of these with bass drum now? Yeah. Just for our sake, would you play the snare drum just a little bit louder? Let's do the next one. Can you do that? And one more. Well, let's do 2 more. In this case, the snare drum and cymbal are paired up. They're playing exactly together. Bass drum is playing the third partials, kind of ghosted. The next one I just want to mention is a little strange. We're putting a diddle slash on the middle note of a triplet. But that's how we write it, notate it, but that's not really how we play it. we're trying to get a fourlet between the first note of the ride cymbal and the third note bass drum. The bass drum has to be in its correct place on the third note of a triplet. Do you want to give us a sense of what this should sound like? Now, we only have about 5 minutes left, and we're going to go to the last page, number 6, to put together some Afro-Cuban 12/8 feels. This is a kind of a complete change of topic, but these are fun to put together, and one of them, the first one, is based on a double paradiddle. Right, left, right, left, right, right. Left, right, left, right, left, left. And Kai's going to demonstrate the double paradiddle just on the snare drum. Taking that 6-note pattern with that sticking, he's going to reassign his right hand to the bell of the cymbal and play the exact same thing. I'm going to have you go ahead and reassign, as printed, the notes now that the left hand is playing. The first note is a snare drum, second note high tom, third note snare drum, and the fifth and sixth note, or the fourth and fifth note, are both low toms. Now, to get the feet involved here, we're just going to play dotted quarters or put this into a compound meter or triplet based. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Get the feet just stomping a little bit together and overlaying this double paradiddle. Things we could do is, and maybe, I don't know if we've talked about this, every time you play a snare drum, instead of a snare drum, play a cross stick. Are you comfortable doing that? And that's a lot of fun to put together. We're going to do one more really quickly. This is B on the last page. This is, again, the feet are playing in the same manner, dotted quarter notes in that triplet or 12/8 or 6/8 feel together, feet are together. But the sticking is, if you notice, all the left hand drum part is on the third partial of a triplet. So everything is 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's what the left hand does. But as you put this together, it's kind of easy to think right hand together, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, together, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, together, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, together, and put that with your feet. You want to demonstrate just the hands? The hands, the assignments are just like an L pattern. Snare, high, snare, low, snare, high, snare, low. And now put the feet together, and if you can speed that up if you'd like. Good. And can I ask you to do one more thing? I'm going to ask Kai to play a couple of bars of A and a couple of bars of B, morphing directly into it, hopefully without stopping or changing. So you see these can kind of marry, blend together, and phrase in and out, and so on. That's pretty much what we want to cover today, and we're just about out of time anyway. I want to thank Kai for playing for us very much. He did a great job. I hope these handouts are useful. If you have questions or you want to contact me about these, you're welcome to do so by email. My email is very easy. It's Stephen with a V, S-T-E-V-E-N .Hemphill, HEMPHILL @NAU.edu. Feel free to ask questions, or if you need them sent by a PDF by email, I can do that to anyone that's interested. Thank you for joining us, and hope you enjoy the rest of the Jazz Festival.